What is up, everybody? Good evening and welcome to this week's edition of Podcast Name Deferred. I am your host, Seven. Craig is actually going to be out this week. We just short term ago realized that it wasn't going to be able to make it this week, and Erica is still on leave. So that's okay. We've got a lot to talk about, and I do most of the talking anyway. We'll be fine. I know I talk too much on here. It's I don't know, it's kind of my thing, I guess. I don't know. I always talk too much, but I accepted it. You should too. All right. We got a lot to talk about tonight. Aroldis Chapman's scoreless and hitless streak came to an end. Today, we also saw a report about the Detroit Tigers and some of their staffers having issues with the culture there and the environment that they were forced to work in. And we're going to talk the AL and NL pennant races and how those things are going, because it's only going to get more interesting. We're going to be talking about it every week now because we're in September baseball, and that's just how it works. But yeah, let's start off. Aroldis Chapman. Before today, before the Red Sox game today against the A's, the athletics organization, because they don't officially have a city yet. The Las Vegas A's, we'll just say that. Before facing them today, Aroldis Chapman had not even given up a hit since July 23rd when they were facing Philly. And that is the third longest streak since 1901 by a closer. The other two that had streaks, it was Marlins' Randy Choate in 2011 had a 20 inning streak, and Aroldis Chapman's was 17. 50 batters and 17 appearances. Sorry. And then the other one was Tim Burdack from the Mets in 2018. Obviously those were extremely talented pitchers. And now we have Aroldis Chapman. You know, all streaks must come to an end. And as a Sox fan, I loved watching what happened with this. I'm a huge fan of Aroldis Chapman. I was extremely frustrated when the Yankees got him, and I was kind of happy when his relationship with the Yankees organization fell apart, because I've been a firm believer in what Chapman can do for a long time. I think he's a great pitcher. And to see him successful as a Red Sox player now makes me extremely happy. But, you know, as they say, all good streaks must come to an end. The A's did end up beating the Red Sox today, 4-3. Peyton Tolles' third timeout. He only lasted 2 innings. But one of the notable things that did happen for Boston in that game today, Kyle Harrison, who was one of the pieces that Boston got in the Rafi Devers trade, he did pitch today. He had 3 scoreless innings, gave up 3 hits, 3 scoreless innings. You know, No, he didn't give up any runs. It definitely was not his fault that the Sox lost, and I was very thankful that it was a positive experience. Now, with a lot of young pitchers, you see, some of the early outings or when they first come back tend to go decently because the film on them isn't as recent. So any adjustments that they've made takes a little while to catch. And then we start to see what really happened. Like Connolly Early, who made his debut for the Red Sox last night, got 11 strikeouts in his debut. That ties the franchise record for Boston for most strikeouts in a pitching debut, which that's a cool stat to have. And to be able to go down in history for an organization like the Red Sox or the Yankees or the Dodgers, something like that with a record like that, regardless of how your career goes, is still pretty fantastic. Like your name is still in the record books for your team that you made your debut for. And that's a huge honor. For any of those guys to get, that get those honors like that, even if it's, somebody consider like a LeBron stat or whatever, we're not in 30 years, most people may not know, depending on how things go with Connolly's career, people may not know who he is. Only select people like, oh, Connolly Early has the record with somebody else. And again, I said with somebody else, because I can't even remember who the other one was. I know Dice had 10, but I can't remember. Yeah, I can't remember who he's tied with, but it's still a remarkable achievement. And, respect to him for the accomplishment of what he was able to achieve last night. He looked great. And to be able to get that many strikeouts against an A's lineup that definitely has some bats. There's 3-4 straight batters in their lineup on a given day that have excuse me, that all have north of 25 home runs this season. And that's not an easy thing to do in Major League Baseball. So as much as we can look at the athletics organization for what they are, there's still some talent on that team. Nick Kurtz is going to get Rookie of the Year. He's had an unreal season. Brett Rooker's had a great season. Some may think he kind of got shirked out of a little bit at the home run derby. He's a great hitter. And there's a couple others I can't off the top of my head. I can't remember who they are, but there's a lot of talent on that roster. So don't, I like that Boston took 2 or 3. I definitely would have liked the sweep, but I respect that they are still professional baseball players. So I'm not going to say, oh, it can't happen. That's impossible. Boston should have beat the brakes off of them in all 3 games. No, they're professional baseball players. The Las Vegas Jokers. Yes, Taylor. Yeah, that's yeah. But that's the hard thing is there's so much offense on that team, but there's some good fielding on that team, but you're not really getting a lot out of them. The pitching isn't great. I think most of their starters have an ERA north of 4, which you definitely don't want. A couple of them, I think, is like 5, 6, somewhere in there. Like it's their rotation is not great, and I don't know. I think their bullpen might be okay because it seemed like they were able to slow Boston down the last couple of days, even today, when going to their bullpens. So maybe that's really what the A's have to work on is their starting pitching. I would think if you give them a solid rotation, they could work into being a wild card team. It's not an impossible thought. A's used to be one of the best teams in baseball for a long time. So gotta, they could go back to it at any point. I think they need to change owners first before it's really going to happen. But what do I know? I'm just a sports guy. But yeah, Nick Kurtz definitely going to get Rookie of the Year. And like Tyler Soderstrom is on that roster. He's great. Mason Barnett, one of the pitchers of the A's, like I don't think he's their ace, but he's up there. And numbers wise, he is not great. Like against Boston, it was, where's it at? Why is his stuff not coming up? Yeah, he's He's given up a lot, and I'm wondering if that's why they're not showing his ERA, because he's not giving up a lot, or he's not doing very well at all. They may have already sent him back down. Mason Barnett, the one that pitched yesterday. That's funny. That's really funny. Wow. Just as quick. That's insane. No, I mean, that's how it goes. All right. So next thing we're going to talk about, I saw a article today that I think bears discussion, and it to the point where even ESPN talked about it in their new stuff as well. And that was that there were multiple, I'm talking 7 confirmed male employees that were confirmed to have had misconduct towards female staffers in the Tigers organization over the last few years. There was 8 individuals that were accused, I guess you could say. 7 of those 8 individuals are no longer with the organization or are suspended. One of the ones most recently suspended within the last week or so, as this news has been starting to trickle out because of an investigation by The Athletic. But also, there was one where the accusations were essentially found to be, without merit, nothing inappropriate happened, that sort of thing. I'm not saying that it was. That's what the investigation found out. So you kind of have to take that with, for what it's worth. Some of these allegations include, comments, physically touching people inappropriately, dick pics. Fellas, don't send dick pics. Don't send dick pics in the workplace. Don't send dick pics. Don't send. Why is that so hard to say? Don't send dick pics to random chicks you meet at bars. It's not appropriate. If she didn't directly say, "Let me see it," don't send the picture. And if she says, "Let me see it," just like do that in person. It's much more productive. Trust me, just from experience. In person only. And it's funny story. I received an unsolicited D-pic one night from a random number because some chick gave a guy a fake number at a bar, and unfortunately that fake number happened to be my actual number. And his move was just dick pic. I called the guy out on it too. Don't do it. But moving back on the topic, and these were all female employees of Illich Sports and Entertainment, which owns the Tigers, the Red Wings, and other businesses. And this is a huge distraction. This is also something where, as we work hard to include women in professional sports, because they deserve to be there just like we do, and getting them into that workplace, it should not be a boys' club, because things won't develop as well if it is, and making them uncomfortable. Women have different things that they have to go through to protect themselves on a daily basis that men don't. Most women that I know that live in the city typically walk with their keys between their fingers in case they need to use it for self-defense. I know more women that carry pepper spray on them than men that carry a weapon. Fellas, we got to hold each other accountable. We got to be better, because that's not right. Professional sports benefits from having a female presence. And to think that if they're going to be there, they deserve to be mistreated is a gross gross opinion. It's just disgusting. And so I think accountability is what has to happen. You remember when I was in college and was in a fraternity and we held each other accountable. And we did it as men. It wasn't about trying to look better. It was about understanding our responsibility as men. And there were people that didn't like that accountability. Guess what? They still needed it. And the fear that you feel when you're having to approach a situation like that and hold somebody accountable is nowhere near the fear that the average woman feels when she's walking to her car every day in public. And it's also nowhere near the relief you're going to get when you call it out and things change. We got to be better. There's no other way to put it. I hope, for the sake of the Tigers organization, that these and what's the name of the organization again? Illich Sports have the common sense to make sure that the culture changes. You know, when Blizzard Games, when it was found out that Blizzard Games and Activision was having a huge issue with the culture in their workplace, finally, with enough voices, things started to change. And I don't work there, so I can't say it's perfect now. But by all reports, things are better because we had to call out a problem. And when you do that, things get better. You know, as somebody who struggles with social anxiety, struggles with anxiety in general, if I can see that you've got to advocate for that change when it's necessary and needed, if I say you can do it, because I can do it, you can do it. Actually, I had a meeting with my supervisor today and I called out some stuff. Nothing to the grossness of this, but issues within the culture of my company. Luckily, I work for a company where that discourse is welcomed. And it makes things better. It's why I've worked the same job for the last 5 years. Use your voice. Respectfully. Mercury versus Liberty series. I'm going to go with my hometown girls of Mercury in that. I like I've watched many Mercury games. I've sat in that arena, ate the stale ass popcorn. I haven't drank the stale ass beer. I haven't been there since I was 21. But I've been in that stadium. I know they just did like $2 billion in renovations to that area, thanks to money that was put in by Matt Ishbia, the new owner of the Suns. And some of it started before he took over, but he also threw some money in there as well. Dropped ticket prices, dropped concession stand prices. Great arena. I've seen it go through like 3 or 4 different name changes in my lifetime. But yeah, I like the Mercury. The Liberty have a talented team, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Liberty do win it. But I'm going to go for my girls in Phoenix just because I can. And I'm pretty sure this is Diana Taurasi's last year. It's got to see that. Okay. We're going to move right along here, talking the American and National League pennant series, or pennant races, playoff races. And man, have things gotten interesting. We've got some games going today that are going to be impactful. The Padres are beating the Reds right now, 1-0. The Padres actually lost to the Reds yesterday. Mariners and Cardinals are tied 1-1 at the end of 2. The Mariners keep winning. That's definitely going to work to their favor because we saw the Astros lose yesterday. And I don't think the Astros play today. Oh, they did play today and they beat the Jays. So the Mariners do need to keep winning. They got a little ground on them yesterday, but the Mariners need to make sure that they keep closing it out. Dodgers are scoreless in the bottom of the first against the Rockies. Did the Yankees play today? They should have. Yeah, Yankees absolutely got smacked by the Tigers again, 11-1. The Yankees are getting really good at losing baseball games, and it's making it easier to say that they're going to be out in the wild card round against Boston, because that series is going to be Boston and New York. I don't think either one of those teams falls so low as to give Seattle a leg up. But I will also tell you, Seattle wants that 7 seed or that 3 seed. They don't want to be in the middle. Because Seattle against Houston, that's a toss-up. Seattle, with the unreliability that they've had, they don't want to play either New York or Boston, because it moves things out of their favor. So it's going to be interesting to see. And when with those standings, though, one of the things that I think is interesting is the Astros lead that division. The record is 79-67. Boston Red Sox are second, technically right now, second in the wild card standings. Third, I'm sorry. Second in the wild card standings. Half game back from the Yankees. And their record is 81-66. Whoever wins that division is the third ranked division, or is the 3 seed. Whoever loses is the 7 seed. And it's just, so they're gonna play each other anyway. How about you Brewers? 3 in a row now. Yes, man, the Brewers are the best team in baseball right now, man. And I absolutely love seeing it. I know Brewers fans love seeing it because it's been a long time building. Still absolutely stunning is one of the best teams as the best team in baseball. They do have the highest run differential, 100, plus 167. But no, they've lost 3 in a row. I thought you were saying they'd won 3 in a row, and I didn't see that. I was like, what? No, they lost 3 in a row. That's who did they lose to? They lost. They got swept by the Rangers. That's kind of disappointing. Well, John, actually, they're not going to lose in the first round, because as of right now, they're going to get the bye, so they'll lose in the divisional round. Is what you need to expect, not the wild card round. So that's positive. They'll at least get a little bit more time. They get a little bit longer stay in the playoffs because they got that 1 seed. I think the Brewers are going to be fine. I still have the Brewers going to the NLCS, which I think it's going to be the Brewers. It's either going to be Brewers Dodgers or Brewers Phillies, but with how the Dodgers have been playing recently, I think it ends up being Brewers Phillies. We'll see what happens. But right now, that's where the NLCS goes, because it doesn't matter if the Padres or the Dodgers win that division. Things end up exactly as I said they're going to. Let's make a bet. I take that drum set if they lose. No. Actually, I have spent all week working on this because I accidentally broke the dang thing. Finally, because these are actually tunable drum heads on an electric kit, which is great, but at the same time, it is an absolute nightmare, and you need an engineering degree to get it right. But I finally have them where I want them. Now I just have to actually get the right equipment to get it to where I can plug it, so I can make you guys a drum video at some point. It's not gonna, but I'll try. Taylor, I cannot remember your Teak nickname for the life of me. But you were already, I was a student. You were already out at that point. You were already an alumni when I went. So I really can't remember. But no, John, I do like the Brewers. I think that they're going to pull it together. It's just exhausting winning so much the whole season, so they're going to slip a little bit. I still think they finished the year with the best record in baseball. Hat trick Swayze. That's funny. The pink unicorns. I'm gonna make a Chapel Roan themed drum video channel where I'm gonna dress like Chapel Roan, but I'm gonna play everything but Chapel Roan music. So it doesn't suck. Now on the American League side, the Tigers do have that number one seed. It's going to be between the Tigers and the Jays for the number one seed. That's where it's at. And then you'll have whoever wins the West is the 3 seed. And then you'll have New York and Boston at 4 and 5. It's interchangeable at this point, who's going where. And then that 6 seed will be whoever doesn't win the West. I know that standings wise right now, the Rangers are only a game back from the Mariners. I don't think the Mariners fall that low. Is it possible? Absolutely. And I will tell you, if you're a fan of an American League team that's getting ready to go to the postseason, you do not want the Rangers in the postseason. And you're like, what are you talking about? The front 3 in their rotation is Jacob deGrom, who is throwing 2.78 ERA. Merrill Kelly, who they got from the D-backs at the trade deadline, who's has a 3.2 ERA. Jack Leiter, their third in their rotation, is 3.81. And then Patrick Corbin is their fourth, and his is a 4.36. Like for your fourth guy, that's pretty common. But the front 3 in that rotation are ridiculous. And you only have to run a 4-man rotation in the playoffs. It sucks that they're not going to have Eovaldi. If they have Eovaldi, and Eovaldi is probably their 2, and it ends up essentially moves Corbin to the 5th person in the rotation. He ends up being a front end bullpen guy. But that pitching rotation is just nasty. And if they make the postseason, they will spoil the season. Like if they make like let's say Seattle falls, Houston takes the division, so Seattle falls enough that that the Rangers get that last playoff spot. The Rangers will absolutely beat the Astros. No question. Even though that's still a division match. In that scenario, the Astros will lose in the wild card round. The Astros don't want the Rangers because you put Jacob deGrom in the playoffs. You're not getting a W there. You put Merrill Kelly in the playoffs. Go look at his numbers from when the D-backs made their World Series run a couple of years ago. Which team they lose? Oh, the Rangers. And that team is still pretty. Well, I'm not saying it's completely the same, but there's definitely still some pieces. That's a sleeper playoff team, and I mean that. Honestly, I saw something mentioned. I just haven't seen a lot on it yet, so I don't want to say anything. But I will say this. They will lose Houston is losing in the wild card round. That's you can take that to the bank. Sorry for making shit wobbly if you're have motion sickness stuff. That's gonna happen. Doesn't matter who they play. Boston falls far enough that they're the 7 seed. Guess what? Houston doesn't want that smoke. Houston does not want that smoke. Especially with the series earlier this year. All the attention around Framber Valdez right now, Houston doesn't want that smoke. But I think that the Mariners still take it, and that holds as it is. So that would put the Mariners and the Astros. Like I said, the Astros lose. Yankees, Red Sox, I still take Boston. And then in that next round, you'll have the Mariners facing whoever has the 1 seed out of Detroit or Toronto and falling in that round. And then Boston will face the lower of the two and probably fall in that round. And yeah, Detroit and Toronto. That's good. They're both going to be true 1-2s this year. And I think it's just because those two spots, those two seeds in both conferences or in both leagues are very accurately seeded. I do think that when we get to the Phillies Brewers series, I think the Phillies take it. I think that's where the Brewers fall. And then Toronto and the Tigers, I think Toronto takes it. We see Toronto in the World Series against the Phillies. Baseball does not want a Toronto-Milwaukee World Series. I guarantee it. The ratings would be through the floor. But if you have the Phillies, there's at least a little bit more there. You can get a little bit more out of it. But I think the league is hoping that either New York or Boston goes on a tear when it matters. Because the Dodgers, you can't rely on the Dodgers in the National League West. Can't rely on the Padres. The Brewers are a good, small, scrappy team. Definitely reminiscent of the 2015 Royals. However, from a league perspective, you want your World Series to have great ratings, especially as they're getting ready to go into having to work on more TV deals in the offseason. So they want sky-high ratings in the World Series. Maybe we see some juice balls somewhere so that things can kind of get swayed a little bit. The league's done it before. I'm not the conspiracy theorist guy. It's happened before. The league's admitted it. That's just the way it is. Maybe it happens. I hope it doesn't, because I want everything to be clean and fair and all of that. And if they're going to use juice balls every game. Mess with everybody. Only use juice balls. No, don't use juice balls in any game one of any series. And use juice balls for the rest of them. See what happens. That would be funny. Especially if someone gets like a reverse gentleman sweep. They win the game without the juice balls and then lose all the ones with the juice balls. And you're just like, that would be funny. David, what's up, man? Right on. Rally in Salt Lake City. I'm not against, we've talked about this, man. We've talked about this. I am not against Rally or Salt Lake City, but I don't think Salt Lake City has the market. And especially with the way that the weather gets there, sometimes it's going to be very difficult for late March, early April baseball and October baseball. Unless they have even if they have like a completely enclosed ballpark, you're still going to run into situations where weather can impact being able to get to the ballparks. What are you going to do? Have player hotels at the ballpark? And that makes no sense. So I don't know. Would it be interesting to see? Absolutely. I think the Southwest could use a little bit more as far as baseball is concerned, especially if you kind of, you make some adjustments when you expand those and you see Arizona, Vegas, the Utah expansion team, and then I don't know, maybe the Angels in their own division. Like if they're gonna do, so no, Manfred was talking about doing more regional type divisions, and first of all, I get why some people like it, but it's not going to happen, and the reason is because of ticket sales. Boston, the Braves want the ticket sales from when the Mets come in because it's a rivalry game. If you kill that rivalry, those ticket sales drop because there's not going to be a connection with whoever replaces them for a while. And so I don't think the divisions get completely shook up. Do I think certain teams get moved because it's not going to matter? Yeah. The A's, the Rockies, the White Sox, nobody's going to care if they change divisions. But, maybe the Rays out of the East. And that's what you might see is you might see some of the small market teams get shuffled around a little bit. But I don't know. We'll see. That's going to be an interesting thing to see when it happens. Cubs are not going to the World Series. That actually brings me to the other thing I want to talk about today. I forgot I was going to talk about this. Saturday, Wrigley Field. Anthony Rizzo will be retiring as a Cub and becoming an ambassador for the organization. I've met Anthony Rizzo. He's a big dude. He's also always got a big smile on his face. His back and forth with Freddie Freeman when Freddie was on the Braves was one of the cool things in baseball for a while. Sad to see that he's retiring, but I understand every career comes to an end. Good to see that he's retiring with the Cubs where he should be. Rizzo is at... Hold on, Taylor. Let's make sure. I want to look at Rizzo's numbers because he got 1 World Series, 4 Gold Gloves, 3-time All-Star, one Silver Slugger, a Platinum Glove, and the Roberto Clemente Award once. Longest period is with Cubs, 3 years with the Yankees, and 1 year with the Padres. Career batting average 261. He only had 72 stolen bases. He had, let's see, 2011, 2024, 13-year career, but didn't break 1,000 RBIs. If he gets in, it's not until later in his eligibility. I like Anthony Rizzo as a person, but as a player, if he gets in, it's either going to be like Veterans Committee after his regular eligibility or very tail end of his regular eligibility because the baseball Raiders like it. He did not have a Hall of Fame career. And some people say, well, his career WAR is over 40. WAR is a made up stat. Stop it. Just stop it. The Cubs homer list is a joke outside of Ernie Banks. There's some teams that are like that, though, man. That's the hard thing. I thought it was interesting, though. The D-backs home run list is actually more interesting than I thought it was. I agree, man. It's such a dumb stat. And if you look up the actual definition, it can almost be as dumb as you want it to be to prove the point that you want to prove. You can pick what stacks impact your WAR figure. And I know that Baseball Reference and the one that they do, it's tried to be objective to the position that the position, both offensively and defensively. And I can appreciate that to a point, but it's still a dumb stat. But yes, Rizzo will be retiring on Saturday at Wrigley Field, becoming an ambassador for the organization. And I just want to say, Rizzo, man, such an amazingly talented individual. I love watching him play baseball. I got to see him play baseball in person once, and he was fun to watch. I can tell you, as somebody who played the game, teammates like that guy make it even more fun than the fact that you're playing a game. Because they're joking with you when you're at first base. They're, in the dugout, cracking everybody up and keeping everybody relaxed, even in a tense moment. And that's the type of guy he is. So this is just water, but here's to you, Anthony Rizzo, on a happy retirement. And hopefully I'll catch you to spring training down in Arizona sometime soon. You definitely deserve the time to be off, to spend time with your wife, your boy. Congratulations. Yes, cancer survivor. That's right. Legitimately good dude. Just legitimately good dude. And that's one of the reasons I like him, is because he's just one of those good dudes in baseball. And I think that the Cubs made an excellent decision in getting him as an ambassador for the organization. He's a great ambassador for baseball. He was not the best, but he has that personality that can be interesting. And I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up sitting next to Ryan Dempster on the broadcasts for the Cubs. And it being a very, very funny and informational experience. Because he knows the game. And he's a pretty, like I said, he's a pretty good dude. So I'd be willing to bet if he ends up doing that, sitting in on broadcast and, being a part of that with Ryan Dempster and those guys over at, I think it's Chicago Sports Network. I can't remember what the name of the network is that they're on. But yeah, congratulations, man. Appreciate you and wish you the best. All right, y'all. I've talked a lot tonight. Craig, in case you get a chance to see this, man, I hope you feel better. I hope everything's going okay. Wish you were here tonight so that I didn't have to talk so damn much. Erica, I'm ending your leave soon because you're irritating me. I don't know. No, you can take as much leave as you need. We appreciate you. Make sure you check out all of the amazing shows that Wire2Wire Sports has to offer every day and night of the week. There is amazing content by amazingly knowledgeable individuals that are also entertaining and pretty good people. Except for Kyle. I'm kidding. Kyle's amazing. And you can go to the Wire2Wire Sports socials to check out the schedule of the shows and make sure to support those network. We do have a website, wire2wire.live, wire2wire.live, with articles that we try to keep updated, and a merch store. Definitely support us. That helps us out. Helps pay to keep the lights on so that we can all bring you the amazing content that we do. For my co-hosts that have taken the week off and myself, thank you so much for checking out Podcast Name Deferred this evening. We appreciate you. We hope you have a great night. Goodbye, everybody.